Hey guys, this is Andy with Get Your Wellies. It's New Year's Day today, 2024. So happy New Year to all of you gardeners. I hope you're looking forward to a fantastic year in the garden. Today we're taking a look at the aerogarden. Continuing from the last video, we're going to take a look at a product. But first of all, before anything else, why don't you get your wellies, meet me in the garden. Okay gardeners, so last time you were here it was Christmas Day, so that's exactly a week ago, and I set up this sprout aerogarden. So that's the one with 3 pods. We put some regular green like Atlantis lettuce in the 2 outer pods, and that middle pod has a Merlot, a red lettuce. Let's take just a quick look at that before we go into today's product. So as you can see, all of those have come up. I put 3 or 4 seeds in each one, so once I can see the stems, see which are the stronger ones, I'm just going to clip those other ones out. If they come out easily, I'll take them out, but it's okay if you have to leave them in there. You don't want to disrupt the roots of the other seedlings. So I'll be doing that in the next few days, just let them get a little bit stronger before I do it. The other thing that I did was I set up this one. So it is a couple of days behind, but as you can maybe see, let's zoom in really quick here. You can just barely see the seeds starting to pop up there in that front pod, and then also with a bit more light on it, you may be able to see the seedlings coming up here as well. Anyway, this one has the outer 2 pods on each side are purple bok choy. My goal was to do some baby bok choy, but I couldn't find seeds, and I really just kind of wanted to get it going. So I may end up moving them if it gets too big, but we'll see. The middle 2 pods have got tennis ball lettuce, which I hope will grow faster than the bok choy, so that we will be able to grow that and get it out before there's too much fighting for light by all of these plants. So worst case, they're going to come out and go in some soil, and I'll grow them under another light, so not a problem. Anyway, we've got 2 aerogardens here. One of the things about aerogarden, I love them overall, but when you've got 2 or 3 or a bunch of them, there does end up being some maintenance. They're relatively easy in the sense that you feed them every 2 weeks. A light starts flashing to tell you it's time to put feed in. A light will come on if the water level's low on the harvest version. On the sprout version, you just have to look at the side. So that was full when I started it. It's still very close to full. But here's what happens. The water levels stay fine until your plants get bigger. And then you have a lot of evaporation from the leaves. That's normal plant behavior. But if the volume of water in the container is pretty small, in the case of these gardens, they can evaporate a lot of water and the level can go down quite quickly. So to combat that, aerogarden does offer a product that we're going to take a look at. It's called the Aerovoir. So for the purposes of showing you this unit, I've just moved the aerogarden back behind it. That's why the light's coming through. But as you can see, the product is it's basically a tower. It does have the aerogarden emblem on it. That, as I may show you here shortly, is sort of an expensive addition to what you need. But basically this product is a tower that contains water. Let me move this camera just a little bit here to where you can see the top. So it's got, and I'm not sure the actual volume of fluid I think is less than a gallon, but it's fairly high. It's way more than what's contained inside either of the units that we got here. So it's a simple unit. It works on a siphon system. So that, I mean, the principle of that is incredibly simple, and if you were inclined to just fill a big jar up and have a bunch of tubes running everywhere, you actually could just make a very simple system like that. You know, if you got any skills at all with building things, that's not hard to do. Let me start off with something else too here. That I, as a disclaimer, this product was a product I bought. I have not been given any kind of cash or free products or anything to review this product. I would be very honest with you about it anyway, but I have no reason to not tell you what I really think about this product. So the pluses about this product, first thing is that it is a good looking unit. When this one, as you'll see, we'll set it up, I will put this behind the aerogarden, so it's kind of hidden at the back, but you know there's something there, and every now and again you'll hear a little bloop where the bubbles go up as the water goes in to replace water lost from the unit. So it's kind of a, I kind of like the sounds of things working. It's just a weird thing for me, but aesthetically it does look pretty attractive, more attractive than, you know, just a big jar with a siphon tube coming out of it. However, the problem is the cost of this unit. To me, that's the big drawback for it. This is all made of plastic. It's basically the container here for water. You got a tray underneath that, and the water level comes up in that tray. Actually, it comes in right below here. So you want to line this up carefully with the unit so that you don't overfill it. You want that level to get to the right spot. So it does have a riser on the bottom here, which has a little notch to let your tube out, but you still got that here if you don't need the riser. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to need the riser for this. The other thing I do when I'm getting ready to set this up, I have some pieces of cardboard. Sorry about this lighting, that whenever you're doing pictures of bright lights, it's a little tricky, but I have these different sized, they're similar sized pieces of cardboard so that I can elevate the unit. And these I think last year when I set this up, the harvest unit really didn't need any adjustment, but the sprout unit needed to go up. And when you look at the tops of these units, I'll just push that out of the way for a second, but where the level of this one is, it is actually probably a centimeter or two higher, so it makes sense I would have to use something like this to get them equal. So that's really it. The cost of this thing, I want to say that I paid about $25, and I thought, that's kind of a lot for what it is, but at some point I would want to tell you guys about the product. And we go on trips sometimes, and so rather than try and leave somebody in charge of topping off your unit every day or two, this is a good way to leave it and feel fairly good about it being watered. Now, it will occasionally stop running, and that's because on the other end of this tube that's coming out the bottom feeding your water is this like a U-tube here, no pun intended, and this goes down into, let's say on the sprout, there's a little hole here with a bung on it. You take that out and that would fit down in there, and this is a hard tube, so this is designed so it won't fall out. But if you are more so when the unit's first set up, there's not as much water loss and bubbles will form inside of the tube here, and as bubbles form it ends up getting where the siphon won't work. So these actually work better when the plants are bigger, and that's really when you want them anyway. But I'll go ahead and put mine in. If you start seeing bubbles sitting in the top of this, you squeeze on this little bulb, and this bulb is like the primer, so that's how you can get it through. And I'll show you this here in just a minute because we're going to set this up, and I'll set it up on the harvest garden. Now I actually do have another one of these units, but I paid $25 or roughly for this one. The other one I paid just slightly more, but I looked on AeroGarden recently, and they are for sale for $45. Now AeroGarden does run sales sometimes, but really I would not recommend paying $45 for this. I don't think it's worth it unless you just have to have something that looks really pretty. I wouldn't do it. That's very expensive for a plastic container to sit upside down in another plastic container. Okay, well, I'm going to move some things around and set this up. What I'm going to do is go over to my sink over there and fill the container up. I'm going to flip it this way over, unscrew the cap. The cap has like a little spring in the top, spring loaded, so when it hits the base here, it will open up, and that's how it fills up for the siphon level. So the key part is getting that level the same as where you want it in your garden. As I said, the harvest model was almost spot on, so we'll set that one up first. Maybe when I do the other one for the sprout, I can show you that one too, but the principle's the same. Just get a few, wherever you are, you want to put these on the same level, same surface, and then just have some pieces of card around to adjust that level. Sometimes it's easier to do this when the unit is empty, and just go ahead and fill it the first time from here, get the siphon going, and then you can watch the water level coming up, and then just once it's at the right level, and that's indicated inside your AeroGarden, you can just put the cards under there until the water stops running in, and then you're going to be at almost exactly the right place. So let me go fill this up. I'm going to move the unit forward so you can actually see a bit better behind it then while we're setting this up. Okay, so I've moved the AeroGarden forward right here so that I can work, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing behind. So this is the riser. I actually think that I do need this in there when I looked at these levels, so we're going to try that. Worst case, I'll be taking it out. So that just holds everything kind of a little bit further up. It's about probably 1.25 inches maybe. The next part that goes on is the actual tower part, and this holds the level of the water. So this is the part we saw earlier, AeroGarden on the front, and this just sits in top here. You'll see the tube coming out the back, and that just fits in the slot on the riser. And coming off of that, we have our priming pump, and you can also use that if you get air in the tube and you need to get rid of it. You're just going to prime this some more. So this tube is going to go, let me show you this here. This tube, the U-tube that we talked about, this is going to go into the hole in the unit right here. If it gets right up to the level that I want it at and it's still popping up bubbles at the back there, that means it's still putting water in. I'm going to put some cardboard under the actual AeroGarden so that it levels off and doesn't let any more water in there. So I'm going to watch that for a few minutes until we've got it all set. So as you may be able to see here, I had to put 2 pieces of cardboard there to level it off, and it looks like it's done siphoning for right now. So the level is about perfect in there, so I'm just going to watch it. Hopefully it's about right. There is a space here in my AeroGarden. This little shelf, by the way, this little shelf that I have, I bought it a couple of years ago, and it's really so that when it's really cold, I can start some of my seeds inside. It's very small, it's got 3 shelves on it, it takes up very little space, but it's a great way to get seeds going in the house where the temperature's great. And then I kind of graduate mine out to the garage, and we'll look at that again over the next 2 to 3 months as we start planting here, and then we'll move them out there, and ultimately they go to their new homes with other people that I grow for, or they end up in my garden. So this is kind of a fun way to do a little bit of indoor things, and you don't have to have an AeroGarden. You could have your some of your plants from outside under some lights through the winter time, so you can keep them going ready for next year. Well, thanks gardeners for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Aerovoir, and have a very happy new year. Look forward to seeing you on the next video. So until then, bye now.